So today, after discussing the money demand, money supply, and M1A, M1B, and M2, and also the interaction of the money demand and money supply, and also on the effect of liquidity trap. So now we get to central bank. So almost every country has a central bank, but a long time ago, the story is a little bit different because at that time people don't have the concept of a central bank. So the central bank of England, okay, or United Kingdom is Bank of England. Bank of England was established in 1694. So around 15th, 16th century, a lot of banks established, okay? Because the reason is quite simple, because people want to borrow money. But really it takes a lot of time to develop the idea of banking. So it is in the 12th and 13th century, okay? The banks come from Italy, okay? So there's a bank called Medici. Medici Banking House. Sometimes it is called banking house. And there's a term called bankruptcy. 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 Okay, so what is bankruptcy? Actually, this comes from French. And so, if you go bankrupt, what happened? You lose your position. So they take the bench and to throw on you. So basically that is what it is. So it's a long story, okay, and it takes a long time for people to figure out, indeed you can have a bank. And we talked about it before. We call fractional reserve. Fractional reserve. If people put money in your bank, you don't have to, keep all of it in your vault, okay? You only keep a portion of it, and because of that, there is a, expansion of money, okay? Because, let us say, as an example we have, people deposit $100 in your bank, you can lend out $90, okay? Suppose it is the case, you can see you increase the money supply at least by 90%. But for the aggregate, okay, if this process can go on and on and on, it will increase 10%. So that's what we call money multiplier. Okay, so a long story. And after a while, people figure that, indeed we do need a central bank. And how does it work? It's going to regulate a lot of, information and prices in the market, okay? So how does it work? Central bank regulate commercial bank. So once in a while, the central bank has to check the operation of commercial bank. But for commercial banks, their purpose is to make money. Okay, their purpose is to make money. So oftentimes, central bank has to be careful about the assets of the commercial banks. Okay, they cannot violate rules on their operation. And so I think I mentioned about this last time, right? So we say we have several crises. One is in 1980s, okay? And the other one is in 2008. So remember what is the reason for the crisis of 1980s and 2008? What happened? What kind of asset is the culprit? Okay, it is the causes of the crisis. Right. I mean, what is the asset that got into trouble? And what is the reason? Interest rate goes up or go down? No, not quite. 冯姐. So remember we discussed it before in Mandarin, okay, why we have the crisis in 1980s and 2008. No. 冯志远. Okay, interest rate go up. So interest rate go up and what happened? We talk about balance sheet of the banks, right? So which asset, what kind of asset got into trouble? Exactly, mortgages. Okay, mortgages. And because of that, interest rate goes up, bond price goes down, right? Price of bond goes down, and this one also goes down. And so because of that, originally you believe you have asset of maybe 1 million, 2 million, but then it drops to just like 80% of it, and later 60% of it. And for 1986, sorry, I have to, I think it's 1987. There's one day that Dow Jones dropped 22.6%. Just one day, 22.6%. And it's very dramatic. So anyway, so because of that, you know that the central bankers has to be very careful about the interest rate they're going to adjust. So usually, the way they adjust interest rate is by 0.125%. Okay? And what is this? Sometimes we call, 0.25%. In Mandarin, we call it ima. Okay? Usually, that's the case. So you see, to make adjustment, it is by very tiny amount. Okay? And there's a term called basis point. Basis point. 1 basis point is equal to 0.01%. Okay? So, Chen Youxi, what is basis point? 3 words in Mandarin. I think you heard of it. Basis point in Mandarin. 3 words. The last one is point, right? Okay? Okay, Wang Beizhen. What's basis point? Puguoyu. Basis point. No. Second word. The second word is not right. No. Xu Shaoxian. Sometimes we call standard. Louder. Louder. Right, exactly. Okay. It is 0.01%. So as you can tell, the interest rate adjustment here is by very tiny amount. How much is this one? How much is this one in Mandarin? Okay. What is this? How much is this? 1/100, right? So what is this in Mandarin? Huang Yufeng. In Mandarin, how much is this? No, exactly 1, right? Okay, how much is this? 1 over 100, right? So in Mandarin, what is this? Yes, but can you put 100 before at the front? What is this? You already got it. Anyway, sweetie, what is this? 1 over 100. But in Mandarin, it is the other way around, right? So this is 1 in, go ahead, louder. No. Basis point is this, 0.01%. Okay, anyway, this one is 1 over 100, right? And what about this one? Is 1 over 10,000. Okay? So you see, it's very small. But even though it's very small, it affects the market a lot. Okay? You just increase by 0.25%, it will affect a lot of your mortgage payment and also the mortgage value. Okay? So interest rate goes up. It has a lot of impact. On the one hand, it will decrease consumption and also decrease investment, and then also decrease the mortgage value, affects the balance sheet of the bank. Okay, so in terms of regulate central bank, there are a lot of issues. The books discuss this a lot. We don't have too much time to cover that. You are encouraged to read that on your own. And then, what else? Stability, okay? The central bank is also concerned about stability. Stability of what? Price level, okay? Economic growth, and also employment. So then we have two terms. One is called hard landing. Okay, hard landing. And the other one is called soft landing. Okay, so what is hard landing and what is soft landing? Wang Weixin, what is hard landing? What is soft landing? 3 words. Excuse me? Sure. Okay, Huang Yifeng, hard landing. Zheng Caijin, hard landing. Sorry, Wang Weixin, have you taken an airplane? Have you flown before? Have you flown? Yes. So, what is hard landing? Exactly. So it means you feel very uncomfortable, right? Feel shocking, okay? But soft landing is good, okay? So in terms of stability, it's like this. So for example, 2 years ago we have inflation, right? Okay, we have inflation. Inflation is not good because it makes people living harder, okay? Because the same amount of money, you get much less goods with your money. So, the central bank increase interest rate to decrease consumption, to decrease investment. But what happened? If you decrease consumption, decrease investment, it means income will go down, right? If income go down, production go down, what happened? You're going to be lose job, okay? You're going to be losing your job. So it's not good, okay? So generally, and this is what we call contractionary policy, contractionary expansionary policy. Okay, it means you want to shrink the economy. Okay, so the jobs gonna be losing. Okay, and some people, if they lose their job, they're gonna lose their income. So it's not good. So that's what we call hard landing. So it takes a lot of effort, okay, to make sure that the economy has to go down because of inflation, right? People don't like it. But then you have to be very careful not to cause the economy to go down. So this is what we call a hard landing choice or soft landing choice, okay? Usually, contractionary policy, interest rate goes up, will most likely to give you a hard landing. But it turns out that Jerome Powell has done a good job. We don't have job losses too much, okay? And so because of that, people kind of love him. The other one is Greenspan. Okay, Greenspan, he is the chairman long time ago, Greenspan. And people treat it like a god, okay? People treat it like a god because he has done several times to make the consumption smooth, to make the economy smooth. Okay, so, but then for Taiwan, okay, for a country like Taiwan, we also have one more job to do. It is exchange rate. Okay, because Taiwan is an export-oriented economy, so exchange rate is very important for Taiwan. Okay, when it goes up, when it goes down, it will affect the economy. So oftentimes I would call it appreciate, or depreciate. Okay, so 公司云, what is appreciate? You don't know that? And then also depreciate. You found it? So what's appreciate? Louder. And depreciate? Right, exactly. Okay, so Morris Chen. Who is Morris Chen? Morris Chen. Who is Morris Chen? He was once the boss of TSMC. Can you guess? Morris Chen. 朱广彦. Morris Chen. Who is he? Okay, let's take a break.